Hello, everybody. This is Dane Gentry with the Standing Back Up podcast. Today, we're starting a brand new live stream. Going to be every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. We're getting a little late start this morning on my part. A little confusing, but that's all right. I'm here with Ben, the Tennessee convict. How you doing this morning, my friend?
Pretty good. How about you?
Man, never been better. Never been better. I tell people all the time, it's sobriety, man. It's good no matter what.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us where you from, Ben. Where'd you grow up at and all that?
Grew up in Chattanooga.
Chattanooga, the big old town of Chattanooga.
Yep. Grew up poor, but didn't know I was poor until I was told. We all were.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all. Uh, First time I got arrested, I was 15. Uh, Never did get in no trouble after that until I was in my mid 20s. Uh, got charged with aggravated burglary, theft of property, uh, and I was actually offered a 2-year pretrial diversion. Nobody told me that was.
Right, yeah. It's just a little bit time out before you go back in.
And so I pled out to the 2-year diversion. And then, let's see, that was 2006. Uh, Never did report. uh, Always on the run. Got caught again, and they picked me back up in 2011. Went before the judge, and of course, he wasn't happy. And he decided to put me on an ankle bracelet and for house arrest. So I did that for about a month. I cut it off. Uh, what they don't tell you is that's a felony theft charge.
Oh, for cutting it off, for cutting the bracelet off?
Cutting the bracelet off and having the box with it.
Yeah.
If you don't turn it in, it's a felony theft charge. I was smart enough to send mine through certified mail back to them.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, I got that. And second time, that was, let's see, that was 2011. So I run for the first 5 years. They caught me. That's when they put the anklet on. I cut it off after a month and ran for another 3 years. And yeah, this time, judge, he wasn't too happy with me.
All
And
right. Let me ask you real quick. What was your drug of choice, man? What was you on?
opiates.
Opiates. All right, go ahead.
I actually broke my neck and back when I was 15.
Okay, so that's where it started at.
Started.
Doctor.
I never used more than I had to.
Yeah.
I've done it the right way for so long. Then I had to have back surgery, and when I come out, the doctor told my dad, he's like, make sure he takes two instead of one, and it was a roller coaster ride from there.
Yep. Yeah. Mine, man, what is crazy is that I had an accident when I was 11. I got hit by a truck and walking home from school. But when I was 15, I had ear surgery and they gave me Vicodin ES is what they were. I wouldn't take them at first, man. I was like, no, man. And then I was with this older woman and we were sitting there smoking weed, really. And she's like, you should take one of them. I was talking about my ear hurting. She's like, you should take one of them pills. And I did. And man, there I went. So, all right. So now you've been running and it all started from the addiction, what, 20 years old? And you're what, how old at this time?
Let's see. Er, I was probably in my early 20s.
Okay.
Let's see. 2001. No, 2006. I was 25.
25. All right. So when, how old was you when you went to penitentiary the first time?
Uh, I've only been once. It was 2014, so I've been. Let's see, 2014, 27.
27. How many years did you do?
I started out. that
Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
started out with an 18-month sentence.
Okay.
What they don't tell you is, I went to prison for classification, and of course, I go into the counselor's office, and she's like, "You're here on a fresh two." I was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "No, I'm here for 18 months." And she's like, "No." She's like, "Since you run so long, what people don't realize is the judge can take your street days and add them to the back."
Yeah, they can. That's a fact.
In the state of Tennessee, I hold the record for street days added to the back. I got the maximum, which is 2,000 days.
That's crazy, man. Unreal. They're gonna get every day.
And she
You know,
didn't even believe. So she called up there and she's like, "I'll talk to you tomorrow about it." And I was like, "Okay." So she called up to the courthouse, and sure enough, next day she's like, "Yeah, he added the max," and he told his clerk told me she would have added more if he could.
wow.
So
Where did you do classification at?
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. Yeah. When you were there, so they changed it a lot, man. The first time I was at Bledsoe, you had to eat in your cell and everything, or they would let you out in the pod if it was your pod time. Top bottom, and then man, you couldn't get no commissary or nothing. You couldn't get nothing but hygiene. It was crazy.
That's how I
Um,
was when I was classification.
it changed though. It got to where you was out more. You could get like $25 worth of commissary on one end, and then if you were like 24 or something, you could get 35. So it got a little bit better. But what compound did you hit first?
First compound I hit was Northwest.
Man, that seems to be just the common factor in it, man. That's every time I've went in, that's the first compound I go to, Northwest.
At 14, Gladiator School.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That what they don't tell you is I remember walking in. Well, actually, when I went through there, and the gold badge sergeant was walking me to the compound. He's like, "First thing you do when you get in here, talk to Cotton and go ahead and get you a butcher." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Go ahead and talk to Cotton, get you a butcher, and get settled." I was like, "All right."
Yeah, that's what I made that video the other day, and I was being serious, man. I know people can think what they want, but that should be your first objective anywhere you go. In my opinion, especially man, what we're hearing down there in Alabama and all that, ain't no
That's
way, man.
no.
I don't understand that, bro. I don't. I can't fathom standing there and just letting nobody do nothing to me. I don't care how many people it is.
That's me. I'm
But
gonna be you. I
I,
mean,
man, I promise you, man. You start stabbing one of them, you already know. You know the deal. A butcher is a knife. Yeah, Chris. I'm sorry. I just saw Chris. Yeah, butcher's a shank. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, all right. Go ahead, man. So all right, you're at Northwest.
yep, I'm in Unit 14. I get celled up with the enforcer for the area nation. Big O.
Big O.
Big O.
Okay. Yeah, I know him.
Do you?
Yeah, I know him.
And
Mm-hmm.
pretty good guy. So I walk in, of course, I hand him my paperwork and I look at his paperwork. And I'm like, no, and not going to be. Like, it is what it is. I come here, I'm going to do my time and go home. He's like, I can respect that. He's like, but just so you know, he's like, they're going to heart check you.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. And I was like, who's Cotton? So he pointed out Cotton. I went and talked to Cotton and went ahead and got me, got my shank with me and kept it with. I kept that with me until the day before I left.
No, that's right.
And but I was there. Let's see, I hit that compound probably in September of 2014, and I was there 24 hours. Well, not even 24 hours when I seen my first murder.
Yeah.
Watched a guy.
That,
I mean, I watched a guy run up on another guy and just stick him in his neck. He dropped, and it just so happened he dropped right in front of me. So I just stepped over him and kept going about my business.
and that's what right there. That's another thing. When people ask me all the time, what's some advice? Mind your business, man. Mind your business.
Exactly.
Um,
Business. Don't be scared to fight, and don't be scared to stab somebody.
that's you better go in there with the men. See, I went in there with that mentality, man, because I just said, I'm not leaving this motherfucker with no more scars than I come in here with, and I didn't. I got one on my eye, but it ain't from nobody. It's from a bump, but it's a bad son of a bitch. I'm gonna tell you that. It's like I don't know what it was, man, but anyway, so
I got a couple extra scars, but mine was I was actually stabbed, but we were all fighting, and I got stabbed on accident. They stabbed the wrong guy. So
I saw one get stabbed in handcuffs. He's on the floor, man. We were in the cell locked down. About 6 of them was into it, and it was 3 white dudes and 3 black dudes, and the white dude was on the concrete in handcuffs. Police let the dude come over and stab him, but then another dude was in his cell, but he had his door rigged, and he come out, and you already know what happened. It was over with. The police were screaming and hollering, "Help! Help!" Didn't even realize wasn't hitting the button on his radio. They was fucking tripping. He didn't know what to do. It was funny. He was like, he was just running around like a cartoon. Help! Help! Kind of like that. It's crazy, man.
I seen some crazy stuff. I remember calling home and telling my kids, my older kids, the ones that are grown, I told them, I was like, either I'm going to come home in a body bag or I'm getting a life sentence.
One of the two, man.
Yep.
You know, down there, they talking about they down there taking them boys' booty and stuff like that. I don't mean to sound that way, but that's about the best way I can put it. I can say that on here. I can't say it on TikTok and stuff. Man, there ain't no way, bro. You know, they sitting in these county jails and they're hearing all this. All these kids are. You know what I mean? Man, you better be prepared. If you're sitting there right now and you're listening to this, it don't matter what state you're in. Man, things in there ain't what they used to be, and you better be prepared when you get in there, period.
And I'll tell you something else I saw towards the end of my sentence. I watched, me and a friend of mine I grew up with, we actually wound up in the same pod when we was at Bledsoe. But I actually watched 4 guys that snitched on each other in court.
Yeah.
Sitting down there playing cards.
Wow.
I'm like, this ain't even right.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
And then, then another thing with these youngins nowadays too in prison, they'll be like they'll be talking and cutting up and stuff and calling each other a bitch. You know, people stabbed for that.
Yeah, man, you know, and that's, man, I was going to make a video about that the other day about how it has changed because somebody asked me, said, could I explain the difference between a convict and an inmate? And that was my very first thought, was that grab ass shit they play, walking around smacking each other on the ass and calling each other bitches and whores. And it's just like, man, what happened? It was like, bro, I got out the first time in 2009 and went back in 2014, and I could not believe the difference in that a little bit of time, man. I was just like, you got to be kidding me, man. It was a trip, man. Is Northwest the only compound you went to?
No, I stayed there for 2 years. I think it was about 3 weeks going home, and they transferred me to Bledsoe.
Okay, the old site 2.
No, actually, at first I was at the new site in the workers' pod.
Okay, 25. Yeah.
That's where I caught my new charge.
Oh, what'd you get? What was your new charge?
Stabbed a child molester.
Oh, okay. See, this is getting interesting now. I didn't know this part of your story. All right, let's talk about that. That's it. That's exciting. So, what happened? You know, that pod is full of them. That's a fact.
But and a couple of the guards there, one of the guards there, his wife, I actually knew from home, and he thought it would be a joke since I knew his wife and he talked to her about me and everything. He thought it'd be a joke to move a chomo into my cell.
Wow.
Yeah. So come in, of course, let me see that paperwork. And he showed me the paperwork, and he had 23 victims. So I stabbed him 23 times.
That's right. Did you kill him?
No. He had more of a will to live than I thought.
Yeah.
But he was fucked up for a while, though. I never did see him again. So of course, they're going to street charge me.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I copped out to another 2. Well, actually, it was a 4. I do 2 and do 2 on parole. So my initial 18-month sentence turned out to a 4-year sentence, and then I had another 2 on parole. So I actually flattened everything in 2020.
Okay, so I mean, for that, I would have took that little bit of time for that, I reckon, wouldn't you? Any day of the week,
They offered me was 5, and I was going to take it.
Yeah.
But at this time, like I said, I was in the workers' pod, so I worked in the captain's office. cleaning up his office and everything. So he, without saying his name and everything, I'm pretty sure he helped me out on that end of the deal.
He did. That's what I was going to say about Bledsoe, man. That's one thing about them. Um, I know a instance of where some people come in together. You know how when you come in there, they usually like put all y'all in the same pod, and a lot of y'all even be in the same cell or whatever together. Well, they were doing this, and then one person that was in this line or with them had this was their third time back in prison, so he had a well-known name and stuff in there. You know what I mean? Of what would happen if they put him in the cell with one of them, and he noticed them moving their little list around, making some changes on it, and that's what they did, and kept that boy in there for 3 days, man. Uh, made him sleep, shit, or sit, everything in that corner in between the toilet and the wall. You know how small that is.
Yep.
Sit there and face it like a kid with his nose in it and everything. I'm talking about they finally had to drag him out of there. It wasn't much left of him, but I mean, as far as him being alive, but no charges, no write up, no nothing. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your work. One of them type of deals. And bro, and that's kind of the catch. That's what people are kind of trying to figure out with me, because on one hand, you'll hear me say that about them child molesters, but then I'll say, man, they down here doing these kids. There's a difference, man. This
Exactly.
is somebody who harmed a child, an innocent child who cannot protect herself, who will have to live with this the rest of their life. And I wish they'd let us seek our own justice on them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
see,
if you don't already hate them, if you go to the penitentiary, you're really gonna hate them when you see how they protect them and shit.
that's what I was fixing to say. Bledsoe protects him. I mean, I just got lucky. Like I said, I worked for the captain. If it wasn't for that, then I'd probably still be in there. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I was there. The second time I was there, one good thing about Bledsoe was the visits, man.
Oh
This
yeah,
time this time I went through there, we had to take that damn CBIP class, so I was there for like 4 months or something, 5 months. But man, I was going to visit every Saturday, Sunday. Beth would come up there religiously, bro. I'm talking about would drive back and forth from White House, Tennessee, actually at that time, from White House to Bledsoe every Saturday, drive back home, drive back up there every Sunday. But one thing we noticed was all them child molesters.
yep,
And there was that one boy, man. He was a heavier set boy, had a very weird last name, and he was in there for. He was a sex trafficker. And then you should have saw his wife. She was like barely 18 years old. You know what I mean? And they had a couple of kids. They was very wealthy. And I was like, man, but he got a shitload of time though. But yeah, there was a lot of them up there.
yeah.
So you got maxed out, I'm sure.
Well, no, actually, I didn't.
Damn.
I went to the hole for I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. Captain come got me.
Yeah.
And he told me flat out, he's like, look, you can't stay over here with everything that happened. I was like, what y'all gonna do? Send me to another compound? And he's like, no, I talked to him and everything. He's like, we're gonna ship you to the old side across the street. I was like, okay. So I went over there and done the rest of my time.
Damn, they did you a favor.
Took care of me.
They did you well. Yeah, that's a cool deal there. Um, One of them got their arm broke at Bledsoe. Um, Somebody robbed him for his commissary. And what's that dude's name? Wayne something. You got to know what I'm talking about. He was a unit manager. He was a fucking prick, man. I can't remember his name, but anyway, he made it to where you couldn't get commissary and stuff for a while. So he was protecting them.
Yeah. See, there's a
All right,
captain
so
and a captain, but she's a sergeant. She's a sergeant, and her husband's a corporal, and she takes care of them. She works in the library. That's only people should have worked for is chomos.
yeah, that shit's crazy, man, and it's getting even worse. I saw a video. Dude said that he had to go to a sentencing hearing with his childhood friend who had recently had moved into a house. They come to do a search warrant for the people who lived there prior, and kick the door in, go in there, search the house, and find a rifle that he had, an old antique rifle, not old enough though, but old antique rifle that belonged to his granddaddy or something. And when he was 18 years old, he had got caught with a couple ounces of weed. Only charge this dude ever had. And they were still going to give him 24 months. So he was going to plea out 24 months and get in there in front of the judge, and the judge gives him 48. And
Yep.
the very next dude was a chomo, had already had 3 prior cases, had 3 new cases, and gave him 18 months.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And everybody's saying, "Oh, well, Tennessee passed the death penalty for child molesters." Yep, but there's certain classic,
Criteria. Yep.
you know, like when we was at the when I was still at the Oak site, there was a little boy that come in there. He was probably 23, 24 years old. He actually raped 2 girls, a 7-year-old and a 8-year-old, on the church bus,
Wow.
and he got the same sentence. His first sentence was 2 years.
Damn.
Now, of course, he allegedly uh, fell off the top tier several times.
Oh, them things happen all the time. I mean, you know how slippery they are up there.
He was made.
Uh, yeah. Yeah, they are, Chris. These judges are something else, man. You're right. It's like everything else in America. It's just a war on our kids. That's who they're trying to corrupt. And yeah. All right, man. So you do that time, and you come home.
Yep,
What's it like when you first get home? What's it feel like?
completely different.
Different world.
Uh, I remember the first day that I actually come, that I got out of prison. A buddy of mine come pick me up. I got sick on the car ride home, of course. Uh, but I remember getting out of the car and honestly just being scared.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how many times, somebody was mean mugging me and me just walk up on them, just out of habit.
Yeah.
And I've caught myself reaching for my butcher a couple of times, realizing
Just automatic habit, man. I remember one of the first things I remember is going down the road with somebody, and they said somebody had done something to him, owed him a little bit of money or something other. And I said, "Well, hell, let's just go kill him." And dude looked at me like, "What?" And I was like, "Damn, I just said that, didn't I?" I was like, "Oh, my bad, man. I was thinking I was back in there for a minute." You know what I mean?
it don't mean nothing. I mean,
No, it's crazy, man. And then you become that cold person, man.
mhm.
I
especially,
did.
especially the more deaths you see, there is a difference between hearing somebody say, "Oh, well, so and so was killed." It's different than actually looking over them in their eyes and watch the soul leave their body. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and and another thing I used to tell people too is this: nowadays, the big thing, everybody wants to shoot everybody and all that. I said, you get in there and it's hand to hand. I said, it's a big difference when you got a piece of metal in your hand and you feel that man's blood pumping on your hand each time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a big difference. And then running away from somebody and shooting behind you and accidentally hitting them in the head, or whatever. It's a big difference, man. It's a big boy's world. The moment you get in there, and don't nothing on the street matter, 'cause you're going to go back through all that shit again, whatever little clique or whatever you're in.
Yeah,
Get ready.
you know, I,
Um,
I made it to where I wouldn't even call home but once a month.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And
uh,
the first time I didn't care. After about 6 years, this is no kidding, man. I didn't really even care if I got out or not. It wasn't like I even thought about it. I didn't think about it, man. I was just there. And then all that time on Max, man, you know, it's crazy how a human being can adjust to something like that, man,
yeah,
and live in a 6 by 9 cell for basically 24 hours a day. You get out of that cage and go to another cage for
yep.
your exercise. I mean, you know what it is. And man, I saw a lot of people lose their mind, bro. But that's why I was the way I was when I come home. I wouldn't even go into a MAPCO. It's over with. I was not even going to walk in there.
I remember
Um,
going out to eat, and uh, it was me and a couple of friends of mine, and the waitress was taking us to the booth, and I told her, I said, "No, I want that booth." She's like, "Well, there's people sitting there." I was like, "Well, move them." I was like, "Because my back's going to be against that wall."
Without a doubt. Yep. I'm still like that now.
Oh,
I,
I
I,
am.
I still got to be where I can see the door and everything. All that. Everywhere I go, I have to walk a certain way, meaning inside or out. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's just a habit, man. Somebody was asking me about something about me on that Alabama kick. They was like, "I'm worried about your safety." I said, "Shit." I ain't. I ain't. You know what I mean? I'm really not, because I always got people with me too, or something when I'm out. That you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, see, nowadays uh, I have to be cautious in what I say and what I do, because I am actually married to a teacher.
okay.
So now
Yeah,
to be honest, uh, she's calmed me down a lot.
that's good, man. That's what we all need. Um, Somebody to kind of love us through all that, man. You
Like,
know.
like back in, if you would have told me in 2014 that I'd be married to somebody that has a career, being a professional, and living in a middle class suburb, I told you it's full of shit.
It's amazing what we can do if we just stay sober, and
Oh yeah,
it's a trip, man. And then my life is pretty much in recovery. Everything I do, my professional life, everything is recovery based, and I'm tired of seeing all the failures, bro.
oh yeah.
And that's, man, it's just like every day. Um, and you don't ever know, like somebody give you all the signs in the world, they got it all together, and boom, they're gone. And then in one day you have to put a whole house out. It's man, it's a trip. It's just like it's got such a hold, man.
When I got out, let's see, I got out November of 2018, and of course, I was sober while I was in, because that's one thing I can say. I never done drugs in prison.
Right.
So I got out and actually stayed sober for, uh, well, of course, the whole 2 years I was on parole, uh, until May of 2020 when I flattened my parole. Then I was sober up until I think 2021. I'll tell you what happened. I was at a store and I was in line, actually at the Walmart, and I heard somebody speak behind me, and I recognized the voice from my childhood. Uh,
Okay.
Somebody that abused me when I was a child.
Mm.
Uh, I remember shaking, walking out, just leaving my stuff. Got in the car, left, went, picked up some opiates, and it was balls to the wall for 6 months. Uh, then me and my wife started talking and stuff, and she's like, "You need therapy." So then I got into therapy. So I started doing therapy. That would have been 2022. So this time I've actually been sober 2 years.
Okay. All right, man. You just give me cold chills when you said that. I'm gonna tell you why. The last time I was in jail, all right, I did all that time, and I had a parole officer, and she was the best parole officer you could ever want in life. And I told her, I was like, "Look, I'm strung out. I need to go and get some help. I'm gonna go to Florida." And she says, "Listen, you got about 4 months left on your parole. Go. I don't want to hear your name. I don't want it to come across my desk. You'll finish your parole, whatever." So I go down there and do that, and they violate me. The board violates me, of course. So I end up
Oh,
having to come back and do like 90 days. And when I'm in jail, a real good friend of mine that I've done a lot of time with ends up coming in there in Sumner County Jail. Man, I'm in a shithole. But anyway, and we're sitting there talking one day, man, and I was like, "Man, you all right?" And he told me almost the same exact thing you just told me about standing there and hearing a voice, man, of somebody that had done something to him when he was a kid, but he didn't know. It was like a, what they call it, a repressed
yeah.
memory or whatever it is. But he heard the voice and recognized it, but he turned around and put his hands on dude and all that. But man, that's crazy. You just said that and the same things and heard the voice. That, man, I hate that for y'all because I had a bad childhood, but I didn't have that. I didn't have no abuse of any kind. Um, Talk to me stupid and stuff like that and left alone and stuff like that. But I wasn't ever beat on or touched, or at least not that I remember.
See, I'll be growing up. My dad was the best dad you could ask for. Uh,
Right.
I mean, he was uh, God fearing, going to church, lived right, never was arrested, never done drugs. I mean, good guy.
Yeah.
Mom, on the other hand, was a paranoid schizophrenic.
Okay.
Uh, so you didn't know who you was waking up with in the house.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, she done uh, when she was 15. She killed a man.
Your mama did for doing something to her, I'm guessing. Okay, just killed him.
She was crazy. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but she was.
No, I mean, yeah.
And so she done 9 years on that. Got out, and she actually come to Tennessee because she's from Colorado.
Okay.
Uh, got down here. Her and my dad got together. They was together 20 years. Then they got a divorce, and she wound up stabbing another man
Damn.
and going back to prison. Uh, then she got sick while she was in prison. They gave her a furlough, and she come home and passed away.
Man. How old were you?
When she passed,
Yeah.
19, I think.
19. So you didn't see your parents partying or anything then? Nothing.
No, I just heard stories of mom. You know,
Right. So what about your family? Did any of your family, were they addicts and alcoholics or anything?
no,
That's wild, isn't it? See, and I was just having a discussion with somebody about that, about it being a disease or not. And I said, I don't know about a disease, but I'll agree that it's a gene.
yeah,
But anybody can be an addict, man.
oh yeah,
Anybody.
oh
And
yeah,
it's happening more and more every day. And it's usually opiates that start it. We know that. But um, so many cases of it, man. I met this lady, and by all accounts, high society, we'll just say wealthy, very wealthy. She was University of Tennessee, Miss Tennessee when she was in college, stuff like that, whatever. And I was sitting there, and nobody thought that she was and I picked it out. I said, yeah, she had something happen to her. And anyway, I was right. And she was telling the same thing. It wasn't in her family. It wasn't any of that. I just wonder if you don't have the gene, but you get strung out or whatever, is it easier for you to get sober or not? That's kind of my thing. Is that the ones who ultimately get sober and stay sober, is the ones who, just got used to partying or whatever we'll say.
right. I remember laying there just thinking, "There's more to life than this."
I know that's right. Yeah.
And like I said, when I first started taking them, it's because I had to, and then it escalated to, okay, now I'm taking them to get high off of them, of course. But then after a while, it starts becoming a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Goes from partying to it being a job, finding them every day, all day, and that's where your time's consumed at, is chasing them.
Man, and them pills get expensive.
Oh yeah,
Man, I got sober. One of the things that led to a few things did, but my brother, man, I got a brother that's successful. He comes from the same life I did. You get me? We grew up together. He's 6 years older. But I remember sitting there and going, man, I want this too. And I can have it, but I got to be sober to do it. And that was the beginning of it. And he's my hero, man. I look up to him more than what he knows. You know what I mean? From a distance, and we don't get to see each other a lot just because he's so busy and I'm so busy. But we will. We missed a lot of each other's life, man. But I think we all need that hero too in our life, and
yeah.
especially.
I can say my wife's my hero because she grew up poor, didn't have nothing, was neglected and abandoned, raised herself basically, worked and put herself through college. I
That's
mean,
what's up. There you go. Yeah, sounds to me like you got you a good woman, buddy.
oh yeah,
God does all them things. You know what? That's another thing. Us addicts, man, when we get sober, man, it's amazing what God blesses us with in our life. Some of the greatest things, man. We was talking.
I'm not bragging because I live in the suburbs in a nice house. I'm happy for it. You know what I mean? Because I never expected it.
Yeah, definitely, man. I get it because, like me, where I live at now, I've never lived. This is the nicest house I've ever lived in. I live in a 4-bedroom, 3.5-bathroom house. I ain't never lived in a house this big. You
Hopefully
know
that's
what I mean?
4 bedroom, 2 bath. I mean,
Yeah. And it's just like, you
most
know. But it ain't, it ain't about all that to me. It's about the cleanliness, the comfortableness, the all this. I lived in trailers my whole life growing up. I never lived in a house. One little house. It was a 1 bedroom little house, but other than that, it was trailers, man. But we can have the world. But you said a while ago, if you 3 years ago or whatever, did you think you'd be sitting where you are? Never in a million years,
Mm-mm.
5 years ago, did I believe that anyone would tell me, "Hey man, your story motivates me. Hey man, keep doing this. I love hearing you tell these stories. And I love you being hope for people." Man, I never would have believed that because I wouldn't talk in front of you, much less get on here in front of a phone and talk to myself in front of it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Video
Um,
on my channel. Uh,
huh?
the first video that I've done, because on my channel I've only done the little shorts, scenes and stuff like.
Yeah.
Uh, because I wanted to make sure that, well, for one, that I can do certain things before I do it. So now I'll start doing some shorts on my channel.
Tell us your channel. I'm gonna put it in the chat too. What is your channel?
Tennessee Convict.
Spell Tennessee all the way out.
No, it's TENN.
All right. Channel, right?
Do what?
TN Convict channel.
No, Tennessee Convict. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Where all you at on YouTube everywhere?
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I think that's it.
All right. I put it in there for everybody to see Tennessee Convict, so everybody will see that. It went out to Twitch and YouTube. I'm trying to get set up, man, for Rumble.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna have to get a new streaming service or something. I can't get it to. I can get these three. I can't do TikTok, of course. But if I could get Rumble, I think Rumble's a good thing for people to be looking into. There's more free speech on there, bro. You
yeah. I
know
know.
how? Yeah, I
Here's
haven't had a video get flagged there yet.
you hear something hollering behind me. I ain't kidnapping nobody.
Yeah,
It's just he's in there mad. So
yeah. We're gonna let his daddy go. They're gonna let daddy go here in about five more minutes. About 40. I usually do about 45 minutes. I kind of feel like that's about enough, for a podcast stuff like that. I'll go longer sometimes, but
channel that
man,
uh,
the channel that your wife does what now?
my parent has his own channel that my wife runs. He's got more followers than I do.
The parent does. That's what I told somebody. I said, all you gotta do is post a picture of a dog, man, and it'll start getting likes and comments. Kind of
Five.
a trick, huh?
He's got like 500 followers. I mean,
Yeah, man, my followers, man. I started out on that journey, and it took me forever to get 1,000 followers, and
mm-hmm.
then I finally got 2,000. Then I got to 5, and it took me forever. Well, it didn't take me forever, but it seemed like a long time to get to 10. Well, I got to 10,000, and then I went to 20,000 overnight. It seemed like. Uh,
That's what
Now we're about 24,000 now, so we're pumping, man. And I thank everybody for that, man. That's cool. I had the idea that if I could grow my TikTok, it would advertise for my podcast, my YouTube and stuff, and it seems to be working, man. It'll work for you too. Just got to continue pumping them out, man. Jason with a felony, who's a friend of mine, and he's the one that told me I was gonna give up. I was gonna stop, man. And he's not gonna let you say that. If you don't know him, don't call him saying anything about giving up, buddy. You called the wrong person. I promise you.
that.
Jason with it calls himself Jason with a felony.
Okay.
It's Jason with felonies now. I think one of his account on TikTok got banned, but he's just a good dude. He done some time and all that. He's in sobriety. He just got married. But if you call him saying, man, anything about giving up, he's gonna talk to you like you should be. You mean give up? That ain't in us. You know what I mean? And then kept going, man. You have to do the same thing. You'll build it though. Um,
Something to do during the day.
yeah, you know, it's my life, because it's what I'm doing, podcasting and speaking and everything. And so I spend a lot of hours and a lot of time on it, man. And it's working, man. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people like you who have overcome Standing back up, man. That's what it's all about, bro. And we got to keep doing it. Um, there's so many people walk out of these prisons and stuff, man, every day and think they don't have no hope, man. But you do. Uh, but you got to work for it. They're not going to hand you nothing. At least they didn't me.
It didn't mean neither. I had somebody ask me the other day, "Was you ever scared of any inmate?" And I really wasn't.
No.
But I can say this: there's two people that actually. Uh, One was named Rubel. I don't know if you've heard of Rubel Williams or not.
I don't know him.
This guy was locked up since October 10th of 1977.
Damn.
He went up. He had the old life, 25 to life.
Yeah.
He'd been up for parole 6 times. Always denied because of his charge, of being a murder charge. So finally, me and him paroled out in 2018 at the same time. So he was locked up from 1977 to 2018.
Man, can you imagine?
God rest his soul. He's passed away now, but at least he died a free man, and that's what he wanted.
How long was he out before he passed away?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. I got a buddy, man. His name's Billy Cofelt. He's been in since 1972. Ain't never killed nobody, man. He got an old Class X. It used to be a Class X felon. 3 strikes you're out kind of deal for armed robberies, robbing pharmacies. Now, he's escaped. He's the one that escaped in River Bend. And I don't know if you remember that, end of 98 right there. But anyway, he's a good dude, man. He's the reason I got out. Man, they had my time all messed up. But anyway, he filed for clemency, man, with Governor Bill Lee. I'm hoping he gets it, man. Same thing for him. Man, he's 70 years old. I mean, what's he going to do? He's done 50 years, man.
Yeah, Cheeseburger at Northwest. You heard of him?
I know him. Yeah, I know Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger forever.
Forever, man. And I had a buddy. He's out. He got locked up, and he's 15 for killing his dad. His dad done some stuff to him when he was a kid. He hitchhiked from West Tennessee back to East, or from East Tennessee to West Tennessee. Shot him when he come home from work and burned him up. And they gave him 20 years, I think, for it. And man, I remember just the way he was about going home. He was so, he went home and stayed home for I think about a year. Had a girlfriend come home and 2 dudes was banging her, and that didn't go well. He started stabbing them right back in. Life over with. But he's that person that what I'm talking about, that just don't care. And people say that, how would you do all? I remember, I'll tell you this real quick. That was funny. I should make a video about this. That's one of the funniest things I ever saw was I was at Lake County, and me and Jack Dillon, and I don't remember who the other dude was. Dude JJ, a dude named Jay Johnson. Anyway, we're standing there, and this dude come up, young kid. I was young too, but said to Jack said something about being locked up since 1985 or something. And the dude said, "Oh my God, how you do that?" And man, that shit was funny as hell. You already know what them two did. They lit into him. I said, "Oh my God, you little pussy, what you mean?" All that. You cut out, you gone. You still there? Well, I lost my guest, everybody. Thank everybody who come on. I don't know what happened there. We lost him. Y'all go find his channel, Tennessee Convict, and check him out. I'll be back tomorrow morning, same time. I'm gonna have a prior Alabama inmate is going to be on. I think he said he done 8 years. He's going to come in and talk about how it really truly is in the Alabama prisons, man. And that's going to be a lot this week. I've got a former CO that's going to come on from there as well. Somebody else, I don't remember. It's a whole week of all that. And we're going to move on to other states, man. I've been talking to somebody about Georgia. Apparently, a lot of that stuff's going on in Georgia too. I don't know what the deal is. A lot of these men getting raped, and it seems to be a common thing. And I saw a video last night from Alabama, and they ain't got no guards or nothing to work there. And so, they're probably going to bring a National Guard in on them people, and it might help some of you people out. But like I said before, man, if your loved ones are in there and they're getting yourself in debt and all that, that's one thing. But if they're in there, man, and these people are just doing them that way, ain't nothing right about that, man. It just goes to show the sickness of the world we're in. thank y'all for coming by. We'll see y'all again tomorrow morning. We love y'all. God bless you, and stay sober. Most important, stay sober.